Hi guys, I'm Mari.
Hi, I'm Trish.
And
we're your Escrow girls.
So we wanted to jump on here real quick. A lot of people are asking me, how do I feel about turning 40 this month? Literally speechless. I can't believe that I'm going to be turning 40 already. It feels like I was just in high school yesterday, which I'm sure everybody can relate to.
Exactly.
But I know you have a big milestone birthday coming up also.
I do.
What is it?
It's going to be 50.
That's crazy. And I bet you don't feel 50 pushing.
I
definitely don't feel like I'm pushing 40, but it's going to come here. And with that, I kind of wanted to talk about today, like with us getting older, how do we see like our life changing from there? What do you think? Like what life changes as we get older? Like what does that look like? What do our life changes look like?
So you go from being in your 20s, you're young, flexible, you know, have all this energy, you know, you can run a marathon, you can do cartwheels, whatever. You know,
you're the Energizer Bunny.
Trish. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
The Energizer Bunny, right?
Yeah.
You know, you get married, you have your first kid, you're all excited, you know. For me, I had 5, so it was 2, 3, 4, 5 come, right?
I cannot believe you had 5. You have not bad. You have 5 kids. I am juggling with 2. I can't even imagine how you did 5.
Yeah, I don't know. It just happens. They always say like after like number 3, it's just all chaos. So it doesn't matter how many you have after that.
Yeah,
I know Tim wanted 6, but we didn't go that far.
Oh, and it's never too late.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
You can do a surrogate.
Oh yeah, exactly. Pay $75,000 to a surrogate. No, I'm good. I want to be in the grandparent mode.
Okay.
But so yeah, you get married, you have your kids, you know, you go through the time that you have them for those 18 years goes by so fast. You can't believe, like, my oldest is going to be 30 this year.
Wild.
So it's kind of crazy. You know, I have, you know, my oldest daughter, she's in the Air Force and she's been there for 2 years.
Shout out to Ashley.
So I miss her, you know, but I get to talk to her every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, and then my middle daughter just moved out on her own. So that's exciting, you know, but you know, I still have the little one at home and then the youngest son at home too. But it's just those changes, you know, as you get older, you're getting that empty nest and it's just like,
now you're
what
just
am I
with you and your husband.
Yeah. You're going to eventually in the next, you know, maybe see, Lila's 11, she's going to be 12, you know, maybe in the next 8 years, you know, it's just going to be me and him. And then it's like, what do you do?
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. I mean, Olivia's, 14 now. Ella's 9. Derek gets mad at me that Ella still sleeps with me, but it's just like you want to hold on to like your babies and like those memories. And like one of the biggest things that I've always thought, and I'm already starting like to get cracked, my voice cracking when I talk about it, but like one of my biggest fears in life is my parents are like my best friends, both my mom and my dad. I'll tell them anything, maybe a little bit too much, even that my dad never even wants to hear from me. But it's like we're all getting older. So what is going to happen if something happens to them with me? It's like, I don't know. And it's just, and that's what's scarier for me, the older that I get and I think about those things, it's just like, I don't even know how I would live. So,
yeah, I mean, it's something, I mean, you do get past it, you know, it's just something, you know, as your parents get older, you know, as we get older, we know that time's going to come. Sometimes it comes before we even think about it. You know, like my mom passed away when she was only 67, you know. My grandma, she lived till 89, right before her 90th birthday, you know. So, but those things, it is hard, you know. Everyone says, oh, you know, it gets easier. It gets a little easier every year, but at the same time, you still have those feelings. You still have those moments of breaking down. It's just learning to live with it, you know, but
I know.
Eventually, you know.
And it's like, not even that, but we have to think of like emotionally, how are we going to, you know, once you get older, things change emotionally, financially, physically. I mean, my hair is already falling out almost. I'm only 40. Like, you have a ton of hair.
Join the club. I do not have a ton of hair. My hair falls out, trust me.
So it's just like all those things. There's just so many revolving changes. And it's just like, how do you not only deal with it, but how do you come to terms with those things? And it's just, I don't know. But
growing old.
Also, on top of that, like even friendships that you had from, way back when you were younger, how does that relationship look when you start getting older? Like I know for me, some of my best friends, like we're definitely not like, we don't talk the same as we used to. Don't get me wrong, like I love them to death. If they ever needed me, I'd be the first one there. But the dynamics change. And that's only because I'm busy with my own life and my kids and my household and my job. And the same goes with them. And it's just, how do you think that those relationships look once you start getting older and you start getting more things on top of your plate? And so, what comes, like, what takes precedence over it?
Right. So, like, for me, I had friends in high school. After you graduate, you still have a few of those friends. But eventually, you start dating someone, you get engaged, you get married, you start having your family, and those friendships subside.
Right.
I haven't talked to anyone that I graduated in high school for a long time, you know. Like we tell our kids, as they graduate, even some of our kids' friends are like, it's so different now that we're out of high school.
Right.
And we try to tell them, yeah, everyone goes, they get jobs, they move, like Ashley, she's in Alaska, everyone's moving, and those friendships that you had in high school are not going to be the same friends that you're going to have, when you're mid-20s, your 30s, your 40s. As you get married, those friendships, you have friendships, but they're new friendships because now it's your husband and you, and then you make friends and stuff that way. But again, it's not like you're hanging out talking to them all the time. Yeah. They can come every couple of months and you hang out.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard for our kids to really understand, like, hey, these friends aren't going to always be here. Once you get older, you're going to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like talking about getting older, it's like all these things. You have different priorities, and especially because, like I said, the older you get, the more things you have on your plate, and so forth. And like another thing I have notated here, so changing family dynamics. I know we dabbled a little bit about becoming a parent or choosing not to, and again, same thing, like dating later in life versus dating when you were younger. I mean, I know we're both married, but how do you see me dating back when I was a teenager, even early 20s, it's so different from what it is now because there's so much technology involved.
Exactly.
Like back then, I would be, scared that my parents had to answer the phone when a boy called, for example. They always had to go through my parents to get to me first. And now you never have that problem, which is kind of scary to think about with my own daughters because there's so much direct access to somebody.
Exactly. And even I tell, even Lila, she's 11, but and obviously she's not dating, but even with Hannah or even Ashley, and even with the boys too, James and David, it's you can meet someone online and then we tell them, doesn't mean that's the person behind there.
For sure.
You don't know.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
you're still young.
You're young. You don't know these things. Anyone can say who they are behind a screen.
Yeah.
So for me, trying to teach them the whole dating thing now is it's scary. I worry, oh, is this going to be someone?
Territory for
exactly.
sure. Yeah.
Is it someone that's going to, end up hurting them?
Right.
You hear about these things, girls go out on a date, there's someone they meet, and then next thing you know, they're no longer here because they've been murdered, you know? So it's just, I couldn't imagine having to date in this society now, you know? Just because too, back when we were dating, it wasn't just, oh, let's hook up and that's right. But that seems what all it is now is just hook up. And if you don't want to do that, you want something serious, it's oh, I'm ghosting you.
Yeah, and on to the next.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever's going to give them what they want. So
okay, so let's talk about career and money now. So with our same kind of theme that we're going through, getting older, priorities being listed. Career pivots and realizing your dream job, have those changed at all, or are you kind of in the same spot where you thought you would be at this time?
So going back to when I was graduating, I wanted to go be a nurse. I was going through all those things and ended up stopping it because I had a baby at a younger age. Then my grandma got me into Escrow and stuff with her, through the company she was using. So it's kind of, I thought when I was younger, oh yeah, I'm going to be this nurse making all this money. And now I've been doing escrow forever.
Sexy nurse, Trish.
I wish. But yeah, now it's just like, as I get older, like, I'm like, this is what I said, like, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know things, but I couldn't see me doing anything else.
I mean, she is the best at escrow. So I definitely think you're supposed to be where you're at. What about burnout and ambition as in our age eras now that we are? Like burnout, and I wouldn't say for me is like for the career. It's definitely a juggling process for your, especially when your kids are little, like your home life versus your career, especially when you're in a career, actual career as well. I can say that I definitely do get burned out sometimes, and that's just because every single day is just like go, go, go. There's never a stop. But I think that with that, I'm learning to realize when I'm getting to that like time, and like acknowledging the fact like, hey, like time out, like I need to take a step back just to breathe, because that's when I see myself getting sick. And it's just like, I have my limits. I know when to use them. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be turning 40. So it's not like, you know, I'm just some like young buck that could just keep going on and on and on. So definitely got to look at that. But how do you deal with that? How do you deal with like just juggling your home life, your being a homemaker, being a wife, being a mom, being a, you know, everything else?
So I don't really juggle good, to be honest.
You do juggle good, Trish.
I mean, I try, you know.
You have 5 kids. You juggle something. You do know how to juggle for sure.
I try, like, we just try, like, okay, I come to work, you know, I know about the burnout because, like, during COVID, it was burnout.
Yeah.
You know, me, Liz, we were burnt out to no degree. I mean, we would be here, like, at 5 o'clock in the morning, stay until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, we were going, and we didn't listen to our bodies. Mm-hmm. And then that's when our bodies shut down for us.
For sure.
So going through that, I've learned, like you said, you see the signs, you know, okay, I'm getting burned out. I need to stop. I need to relax. When I get home, you know, we kind of have it like, if I'm cooking dinner, luckily I have kids that know how to cook, a husband that knows how to cook, you know, so they'll pick up that. And then whoever's not really doing dinner or that kind of stuff, the other ones help clean it.
It's like a team effort.
It's a team,
like everybody's just pitching in.
Yeah. So it's like making sure, you know, like if I cook, I'll be like, okay, James, you and Lila do the dishes.
Right.
Or, you know, David, I need you to put away food. You know, just different things like that. And, which I'm thankful for, you know. Right. Because as you go and you're doing everything, you know, work full time, cook, clean, laundry, all that stuff. Process, you know, you get burned out just on the home life too. But I've been lucky that, you know, my kids, like Lila, she's known how to do laundry since she was like 7. Yeah. You know, she can do her own laundry, you know. Yeah. So it's just kind of nice, you know, just teaching them those kind of things to help around the house and making sure that they're doing the things that they need to do to help out. Because, for sure, you know, obviously as moms, we're not everyone's maid. We're not everyone's cook, you know. Dad's not the butler or, you know, the Uber driver, right?
Yeah,
you
Uber
know?
Eats, Uber driver.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's just trying to balance everything, and, you know, you have to have a good support system.
For sure.
You know,
I would say that's probably the number one.
Yeah. And then you always have to remember too, is that, you know, eventually your kids will leave the nest. Yeah. And so your number one thing is to make sure that you and your husband are on the same page. You guys are connected, because once they're gone, it's just you, and you don't want to be. Yeah. No, you know.
Guys, she is like, not only is she the best escrow officer ever, but she is like the marriage counselor that I talk to about things, and I'll tell her about things that I do, and she'll be like, well, you make sure that your husband and you're always on the same page. So I always appreciate you on that. But like, even talking about work-life balance. So what would you say is like a non-negotiable though on work-life balance? Like what is like, no, like, for example, like for me, work-life balance is like, Ella got an award today. Like, I cannot miss it. That's my non-negotiable. Like, if it's something important when it comes to my kids, that's a non-negotiable for me. What would you say are your non-negotiables?
So I have to say, I didn't have any in the beginning. I would work was work. And if I had to be here at 6 o'clock, I was here at 6 o'clock. If I'm staying till midnight, I'm staying till midnight. I didn't balance my work life in the beginning with family life. So now I'm learning that, okay, I need to make sure if I'm staying late, I'm going to stay late, but I'm not staying the crazy hours like I did because I do have a husband that needs me,
of course,
and my kids do need me there, even though, 4 of them are adults and 2 of them have moved out, but even the youngest, they all need me and they, so I have to make sure that I'm balanced. That's how I'm balancing it, is making sure, Lila's homeschooled. So it's, there's not like reward ceremonies I do, but, there are orthodontist appointments, doctor's appointments and stuff. So I'm, just in the past couple of years, I've learning to be like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to do this. I need to prioritize this.
Right.
I love my job. I love making sure everyone's taken care of, and making sure the clients are taken care of. But at the same time, if something were to happen to me, my husband and my kids are the ones who are going to be there taking care of me.
Definitely.
So I need to make sure that I'm there for them, taking care of them.
Oh, that's sweet. Can we go home now and see them?
I know, right?
Okay. So what about money habits? Like now in our, I wouldn't say like our older years, but now that we've become a little bit wiser and more mature, what are some money habits? Like what would be our responsible for reckless eras? So for me, like people would say that I'm kind of a reckless spender. I'm sure people would say that about me. I can acknowledge that. I can live up to that. But I think like what they don't understand is kind of the same way I feel about my parents. It's almost like I'm racing against the clock. That's how that's my mentality always. I'm racing against the clock. So do I take advantage of every opportunity now that I have with my kids and my husband? Yes. Is it financially responsible? At times it could be not, but I feel that I only have this certain amount of time. And then later on I can either play catch up or do whatever I have to do. But, shoot, tomorrow is never promised, Trish. I'm already 40. I'm going to be 40 years old. I cannot believe it, you guys. 40. That's wild to me. I'm not saying that's old. I'm not saying that that's old. I'm just saying,
you are.
Where did the time go? Like, I feel like I just woke up. I was just born yesterday. So I don't know where the time went. But what do you think were your reckless eras? And
so I like shopping. I like online.
You like shopping, but you are very, very strict at the same time.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But before, I'd be like, oh, I want this. I want the best of this. I want the luxury car I got. Okay. Okay. If your husband tells you do not get a BMW, don't get a BMW. Yeah. I learned my lesson. Mine is just like crap.
Yeah.
And I have to deal with it now. So, but I'm learning that all these things I wanted, like my dog, I actually like Gucci. Obviously, I'm not buying her no Gucci stuff because I can't afford it for one. But I like Michael Kors, Coach, like different things, Kate Spade. But then I sit back and I look and I'm like, and I told my husband this a couple months ago, like, I'm like done with all this, like
the name
luxury
brands.
stuff. Like, what's
brands.
the point?
Yeah.
Like, I'm spending all this money on something and I can still
like
have a nice
race.
Yeah. Like I can have a nice bag without having the luxury stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. I guess people that have the luxury stuff look like they're financially stable. They're, but at the same time, like I told them, I'm like, I just want to be comfortable again.
You just want to be happy.
Yeah,
those
exactly.
Don't necessarily make you happy.
Right.
So
and you don't want, and as you're buying all these things that are more and more expensive, it's like, okay, well, now I'm having to work to pay for this.
Exactly.
And this and this and this. And it's like, why?
It's
I just
like never ending.
Yeah. I'd rather be able to work and be able to enjoy, like go on vacation somewhere,
Yeah.
Even if it's just a weekend getaway,
For sure.
Instead of being like, Vegas. We love Vegas. But, like even if I want to take a trip to visit Ashley or, something, or go say to Italy or something, to see where, my family was from.
Right.
So it's just learning now that spending isn't that, having all that stuff isn't important. I can't take it with me.
Right.
And then what happens? You have all this stuff and you leave it for your kids. And then your kids are like, what am I going to do with all this stuff? They're going to end up throwing it away. So.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up here with our part one. we will check back in when we get closer to that 40 and see how we're feeling at that moment in 50 here. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
We appreciate you guys.
Bye.
Bye.